Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
Welcome back to Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, the podcast where two dudes, that's us, watch cartoons. My name is Evan.
And my name is Alex, and today we got an exciting one for you. Controversial one, maybe? I don't know. People are up in arms. People got a lot to say about this movie. I'm excited that we're covering it. Today, we are covering the live action. I'm sure we're going to talk about both, though, but we are covering the live action Little Mermaid. So if you don't want spoilers, just kidding. This movie was made in 1989.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story of Little Mermaid, you're at the wrong podcast, because...
Turns out Triton is her father.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay, yeah, we got a lot to discuss. I'm excited. I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on this. The movie. We can get into Disney live action remakes. Let's take it back to the jump. Now I know you as a person, but I'm just going to ask the question to continue the conversation. What did you think when the casting was announced for this?
Super pumped. Halle Bailey. I mean, I'm vaguely familiar with her as an artist. I know she's a very talented singer. Her and her sister.
How, you know songs of hers? TikTok? What?
So she was like discovered by Beyonce. I thought we had this conversation before.
But we did,
like
but I don't remember at all. This is my first introduction of her ever as a person.
I don't know any songs off the top of my head, but I'm sure if she has like a popular one and they played it, I've probably heard it.
Gotcha. But you've heard. But before this casting announcement, you had heard of her at least. You mentioned her sister. What's her sister's name?
Chloe, who I believe is.
You know what? Maybe if you put the names together.
Yeah, yes, they're a duo.
I see. I still like you. I'm sorry. I don't think I've seen or heard any of their music, but I do think when you put the names together, I'm like, oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
It's like the opposite of us, where like some people know you from the circle, some people know my cartoon work, but when you put us together for our podcast, two dudes, no one gives a shit.
Who
no one's
the hell
heard
are
of
these guys? It's the
Why are they
opposite
talking
effect.
about cartoons? Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah, so I knew who she was, and I think it was a great casting. I still do. Really remarkable singer. But that was announced in 2019.
Well, I know, but that was when the racists started. That was when people got up in arms.
I don't think that's when the racism started, but that's about this.
It's when the racism started, and I'm gonna.
I just meant in general. I think these people have been mad about people of color being cast. For a long time.
I'm gonna tell a bit of a personal story here, but I was not dating by any means. I was talking to, as the kids would say, I was talking to this girl, 2018, 2019 maybe, and this got announced, and it was like a bit of an issue for her, and yes, this is what I'm saying. And I was like, she kept saying like, I'm not racist, but like, how are you going to change it? And all I could hear was, I'm kind of racist. Like, I'll be honest, that's all I could hear.
Yeah,
and
telltale sign. If you're starting a sentence,
I was just like,
I'm not racist, but.
And I fall back on the ultimate argument, like, this is not a historical figure. It's a fucking mermaid. I'm sorry. Like, what? What are you talking about?
She's like, Ariel wasn't actually black. Wait till you hear about mermaids not actually existing.
Yeah, I grew up as a little redhead child you grew up as a mermaid, is what you're trying. Yeah. It's like, sorry. Stupid argument. I don't even really want to spend a whole lot of time on it. And I guess that's why I want to get it out of the way. If you have a problem with the casting, get the fuck out of here. Don't even.
True. Yeah.
I was so baffled as someone who has no stake in the Little Mermaid, I guess. Also, like, you know what I mean? I didn't know the casting. I was like, oh yeah, interesting choice. Now that I have heard her, I totally understand like why they were like, oh, there wasn't even another choice for Ariel. Like, this was the only person we had in mind after we heard her.
Absolutely, yeah. Racists, feel free to log off and never listen to our podcast.
You can even leave us a comment. Feel free.
Get out of here. So one of the things I saw this morning, looking up just random bits.
The scuttlebutt. Sorry, go ahead.
I think IMDb. It's got so people are like review bombing the movie, and IMDb is even like. Let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Has like stepped in and made a statement like, hey, like there's like an anomaly in the voting, so like they're like weighting some of the reviews now. So there's like.
Is this the first time they've done that?
I don't know, but yeah, I think that's. I don't know. There's not obviously no perfect method to figure out this, but obviously the backlash is hugely racist, and so
yeah.
And
I don't know. How do you do it?
Way.
You think you need to like scan a ticket? Like I saw the movie. What's the solution?
Yeah. And this is so we did an episode about Star Wars visions, and I posted a little TikTok about us discussing the upcoming timeline, and like people, weird trolls crawl out of the woodwork to be like, "Oh, Disney's gone woke," blah 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 blah. What a small-minded way to consume media, but also that's not even what's bad about those movies. Those movies famously did a disservice to the people of color in them. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
These people are absolutely insane that it's like it takes up so much of their brain. And you know what is so funny is a year ago, a lot of people were still saying Disney's gone woke. Disney's gone woke. I wouldn't have agreed with them really until they decided to take on Mr. Ron DeSantis. So now, conservatives, I agree with you. Disney has gone woke, and I'm all for it. I famously would always complain that Disney, with their LGBTQ plus representation, is always 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They've had like their first openly gay character like 6 separate times, and it's always like one half a line that it confirms it, like from a minor character. So I'm about it. You know, if you hear the song and watch the movie and still have a problem with her as the casting choice, well, that's a different conversation, I guess. Because like Evan said, like, there's not any problem with this movie at all. It has other problems, but it is not anything to do with like her.
Yeah. Agreed. So obviously this is the live action remake of the 1989 Disney classic, The Little Mermaid. 1989. This predates me.
Me too.
I was thinking about this. I imagine I would have watched it as a kid on like VHS or something, but not within my own recollection that I can like firmly recall. I sat down and watched the movie. And now seeing that it was made before I was born, I was like, oh, there's a small chance that I may have never actually seen this whole thing and just seen bits and pieces of it. But and maybe that was a little bit of it that was missing for me. Is like, I don't think I might not have that nostalgia for it, although there's some of it there.
No. I totally understand what you were saying. When I was watching it, I was like, I had to ask myself a couple times. I was like, was this in the first one? I was like, I have no idea. Like, I don't even remember. So I think, I like you, it's a movie, you know, it's not my demographic. I wasn't into mermaids as a kid. So I probably watched it maybe once, twice when I was a kid. Yeah. But I think the last time I watched any little bit of it is I was actually babysitting these two twin girls in high school that lived in my neighborhood. And they were like obsessed with it every time. You know what I mean? So they watched it a ton. But what I didn't remember about the movie was that Ariel just doesn't talk the second half of the movie. This was probably the biggest shock to me. Like, maybe it shouldn't have been, but I just could not for the life of me remember that Ariel's silent for most of the film. Yeah.
But where do you land on, in general, these Disney live action remakes? Have you watched most of them?
Yeah, I think I've watched most, if not all. And I mean, it's a cash grab. It's all a cash grab. That's all it is at the end of the day. So I don't know if this was the first one, but I feel in my bones the Jungle Book was like the first live action one they decided to redo. And I was like pumped. I was like, I love the Jungle Book. Oh my God. And when I saw it, I was kind of just like, that was whatever. You know what I mean? That didn't do anything for me. And I feel the same way about all of them. They don't feel like they have the same heart that they used to. Granted, that could be that I'm fucking 30 years older than I once was. Yeah. But if I was in charge, I'd say, stop it. Make new movies. Stop this.
But obviously they are, as you said, cash grabs, and they do make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
why would they?
No, why would they? Well, I'm always in favor of original content. I'm just literally always going to be.
This is weird. Disney, we're talking. Have they come up with anything new in 40 years?
The problem is also, I mean, like, there's no reason. I don't know, like, that's what I can't understand. So with The Jungle Book in particular and The Lion King, it's still just a fucking animated movie with off-putting characters.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why more than anything? I think it's too... I don't know. It's to get the money from the people who fell in love with it as kids, and it's hopefully introducing a whole new generation to the story is what they want. But, like, I don't know. It, like, to me, it has the same cadence now as, like, when Harry Potter was like, we're rebooting all 7 of our movies as a TV show. I was like, what? What do you mean? Yeah.
I think that's a more egregious cash grab.
I agree, but they all sound the same to me now, if that makes sense. All of Hollywood, anytime they have an idea, anytime they're like, oh, this is a great new idea. I'm like, that's a cash grab. I don't. This is stupid.
Unlimited IP. Yeah, and we talk about this in a previous episode, but even with Spider-Verse, Sony, the one corner of Sony Spider-Verse that is working, and I think they have a whole slate of like Spider-Man or villain movies like Kraven. Who's asking for a Kraven the Hunter movie?
Wringing that towel dry. They're going to get every drop of it they can. So, what about you? What do you think of these Disney live-action remakes?
I think the only one I haven't seen is Mulan.
You know what? I didn't see Mulan either, but I was talking to Nikki about this. Are you ready? Mulan has no singing. The live-action.
Weird. Why?
Weird.
That's the nostalgia. The nostalgia is the songs.
I think they learned their lesson because I think they were trying to go for well, are you ready for this? I haven't seen it, but part of my complaint, so maybe I'm being a hypocrite here, is I feel like if they're going to make these, they have to change them somehow. Like this one to me seemed pretty beat for beat. They added obviously some filler things, but like
they added all filler. Almost doubled the length of the original movie.
Yeah, that is true. I was very surprised they were able to double the length of the original almost.
Yeah.
I don't know. I that being said, like Nikki loved this movie. She grew up on The Little Mermaid. Like mermaids are her thing when she was a kid. She loved this movie. There was like kids like talking very like loudly in our theater. She didn't even know. I like brought it up after the movie and she was like, I was so in the zone I didn't even notice them.
Yeah. So you went with Nikki?
Yeah. Yep. What about you?
So we last minute decided to cover this, or we floated the idea, and we had just Haley and I had just seen Spider-Verse maybe the day or two before, and so I was like, Haley, would you want to go see Little Mermaid with me? And she's like, and she was really jazzed about seeing this movie, and this is one she wants to see. She loves the original. She's like, I don't know if I can do two-hour movies in a week. So I went by myself to a 10 a.m. matinee. There were a couple families there. I was seated between two big groups of little kids, and for what it's worth, they were bopping to the songs. They were loving it. There was, the cute little kids gasping at like when something from the original movie happens, and temper any of my critiques with like it's doing what it set out to do, which is to like enchant little kids and capture their imaginations. There were even kids singing the fucking Scuttlebutt rap
already.
Yeah.
After.
Maybe it wasn't the Scuttlebutt rap, but it was. I think you sent me the tweet about this. It was the Scuttlebutt going chicka wah wah chicka wah. Like,
oh no, are we gonna have a generation of kids that's like their thing that they do? Oh my god. No, and so all of my negatives aside, I love that. You know what I mean? That's part of animation. Granted, this is not an animated movie, but it is part of the animation family tree, if you will. So, like, I love to hear that. I just, you know, I'm always going to talk from my own point of view. So I do absolutely love that there's a bunch of little children out there that are loving it. I hate that there are people out there hating it. So, I mean, overall, I'm a fan of this movie, even though, you know, there's a lot that I did not enjoy, and we can get through that.
Yeah. My overall impression was the whole time I was just telling myself, this isn't meant for me. This isn't meant for me. This isn't meant for me. And that's okay. That's totally okay. I'm not the prime demographic, but I don't know. Where should we start with this movie?
Probably characters. Let's go through the characters. Let's start with the lead. Just before I saw the movie, I might have actually been like on my way to the movie theater or like at the movie theater. I saw a tweet and I just thought it was the funniest thing. They were like, "Why is it called the Little Mermaid? Her size is never once referenced in the movie." And I was like, that's pretty funny. But then in this one, they said at one point, "Oh, that's my Little Mermaid." And I was like, "Oh,
that's not from. There's no way that's in the original, is it?
No.
It's Little Mermaid statue.
No. But I just thought that was so funny because the whole time I'm like, yeah, why is it called the Little Mermaid? She's not little. Like, that's so funny. And then I was like, oh my God, he said the thing.
Yeah. I forget what the Twitter account is called, but it's like, it's that thing where movies very, not subtly insert the title of the movie into a line, like into dialogue, and it's super clunky, but man, it was so bad. It's like there's a little statue of a mermaid, and she's looking at it, and he goes, "Oh, that's my Little Mermaid." I was like,
I liked it. I won't lie, I liked it because maybe it was because I was like, yeah, there is no explanation for why it's called that in the first one. But then I was like, oh, they fixed my gripe. They fixed it. So I thought that was I was like, that's pretty funny. The Little Mermaid, Ariel is her name. Mm-hmm. She's a princess of the Seven Seas.
One of.
Do we know what?
One of
sea?
Seven Sisters.
Yeah, one for each of the Seven Seas.
Do we know which one? I don't know.
No, I don't know. One of the first shots of all the mermaids we get are like all her sisters kind of like coming in, and I was like, this looks good. Like we've seen Aquaman, we've seen movies that are supposed to take place like fully underwater. I was like, this looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm. To me, it looked similar to how they do with like the hair sort of floating, and it looks like how they do Aquaman, which I imagine the methodology is probably pretty similar.
Something about Aquaman doesn't feel the same to me. Maybe I need to rewatch Aquaman, but I remember watching Aquaman being like, this water animation is not doing it for me. I thought this was better, but maybe I'm misremembering.
My guess is they have caps to cover their hair, and the hair is probably mostly animated. But Halle Bailey, phenomenal. Her voice, angelic. And that's one of the things is like, although it took a long time to get to our first musical break.
Yeah.
Is it Part of My World? Is that the first song? Or yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
It's been stuck in my head ever since. I'm just walking around
so
the
that's
house.
What's stuck in your head? You want me to tell you what's stuck in my head?
Yeah. What?
Under the Sea. That one is the bop of the movie, if you ask me.
It's the bop, but I take issue with this rendition of it.
I take issue with you then.
Well, Under the Sea.
Well, actually, I guess before we get into that, I don't know if we're going to talk about it, very first shot of the movie is the fucking raging ocean, and it's got the quote, it was like, mermaids suffer more because they cannot cry, or whatever. I'm misquoting it, but you know. And then the very last shot of the movie is her crying. And I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful.
That's a nice circle
Full
back.
circle. Yeah.
Full circle
I was like, that's great because she doesn't cry at all in the movie once until that last scene where she's saying goodbye to everyone and she's crying. I was like, that's fucking good.
We're jumping all over the place. I know like 30 minutes ago we said we were going to go by character, but since we're talking about the opening, it starts with Prince Eric on his voyage. I think what drags this movie down figuratively and literally is like they try to just throw in so much unnecessary like real world logic like about why Prince Eric is sailing the seven seas, trading with other merchant vessels. Cut all that out because it's all just this unnecessary context that adds so much runtime to the movie when they're looking at maps and blah 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 and saying like, "Oh, this is this region."
I bet you
just don't
can
need
cut.
it.
Sorry to cut you off. I bet we can cut some of that out. But I don't know. I kind of liked that he was like, a bit of an explorer, like a Pirates of the Caribbean type dude. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of like he got his own song in this movie that he doesn't have in the first one. Kind of like the more Prince Eric stuff. It didn't deter me as much as it did for you.
I'm saying leave it to like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue. Don't make it a subplot of the film. Like when he's talking trade with his mother, I was like, come on, no. This is
The whole
we're
rest
going
of the
too
world
far.
is going to leave us behind if you don't let me go, mother.
While we're talking about Prince Eric, played by this actor, I haven't seen him before, Jonah Hauer-King. What'd you think of his performance?
I actually thought he was great. I thought he, well, granted, I guess he had more material to work with than the original movie, but I thought, especially because fucking partway through the movie, she loses her voice, and it's like mostly on him for every scene they're in together, and that's part of my problems we can get into. I thought he did great. That being said, Miss Ariel, when she cannot talk, does not have much acting skill. And that's really hard to do. I don't think she's ever acted before, to be fair, to like act with your face or your voice. But man, she could have been a doll for the second half of the movie.
She does her best.
She does her best.
She's no Tom Hardy, who does all of his acting usually with his face and voice obscured.
I was going to say, and maybe it's just, Succession have really good like face actors, if that makes sense. Like even if they're just reacting to someone talking, you can really Sarah Snook is really good at it. So is Tom, Matthew McFadden. Tom's the
great
best.
face actor.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, like his face is like his eyebrows do a whole bunch.
That's what I'm saying is she had none of that. And so it's her first acting gig. I understand that. And, she's a singer. And to be fair, her singing was just amazing. And I genuinely believe no one's going to have this complaint that I did, because she was so stellar. You know what I mean? For the rest of the movie, that it was like, whatever. She's not talking.
It's a little, stiff, which is hard to do. And I think that's where that's why maybe the disparity with the animated movies seems so big is because animation can be so expressive and you have to work really hard to do that in like as a live action actor, I would imagine.
We're jumping all around. We're not going to go character by character. We're on this part. I got to ask you, what did you think of like, I don't know how to describe this. So like the message, like Ursula taking her voice and then Eric falling in love with her really only when she's voiceless. Like the messaging was kind of mixed for me. What did you think about this?
I liked it. I think for me it was easier to follow. It's like she creates this bond with Eric without her siren song, which is why people are lured to mermaids, right?
I see. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
On the topic of voice acting, I was going to say, and on the topic of Succession, Jeremy Strong, though, as Kendall Roy, is someone who can do, without like changing his expression at all, can convey so much, like grief, just the 1,000-yard lifeless stare at the end of season 4.
Which is an art.
Ready
that's
to jump
not
in the
easy
water.
To do. Yeah. No, I got you. Okay, so do you want to go by character or just keep jumping around like we're doing at the moment? We could
just whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of got Ariel and Prince Eric. We got their introductions at least. What did you think of both of their actings? I've been spouting not my nonsense.
Ariel, the performances, I feel you can tell Halle Bailey was maybe limited by not being able to use her voice. It's tough.
As a singer, that's your strength.
Yeah. Prince Eric was good, although in his song, his new song, right? I don't think Prince Eric has his own solo number in the original.
Hell no.
It was a fine number or whatever. I don't think he was great at doing like this. This is a movie musical, right? I wanted more of the movie musical of it, and it felt directed in a way that I was like, I wonder if this director has done musicals before, because like even the dance number they're in the middle where they're in the town with all the people, they're dancing. Like, it was all tight shots and like all these bold, bright colors, but like it was shot in this way that like didn't make it feel as big or as like celebratory as I feel like the scene should have been.
I gotcha.
And so it was directed by Rob Marshall. I'm not familiar with the name, but this guy's also done Chicago, Into the Woods.
Oh, which are musicals.
Which are, yeah.
Pop your
So
bubble.
I don't know. And I wonder if the casting was announced in 2019. I wonder if this shot in 2020 in the midst of
Different times.
COVID.
Maybe they couldn't
And-
get the large crowd they needed.
I'm going to give
but
them that benefit of the doubt. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
during that shopping scene is where we see Jodie Benson, who voiced the original Ariel. She gives a dingle hopper to Ariel, and then she starts twisting her hair with it. That was one that I was like, was that in the first one? But it was. So I was like, a dingle hopper? What? Okay. While we're on, I think his name's Jonah, the actor for Prince Eric. I think I don't know if this is his first thing, but I think he's going to have a successful Hollywood career.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll put money on it. Some of these guys, they flame out after they get one and done. They get their big break and they can't land something substantial after.
The Aladdin live action actor
He's
is
a great
notorious for going on rants about it, saying he's like, opportunities have dried up, which I really liked. I don't know if I would say I really liked, but I enjoyed Aladdin. I enjoyed Beauty and the Beast.
I liked Aladdin. Prince
Yeah.
Ali, fabulous. That's like that. Sometimes just will randomly pop into my head. I'm not even kidding. Like randomly in the middle of the day, I will start thinking of like Will Smith being like Prince Ali.
Yeah. Is that what was playing in your head when you walked into the Circle apartment?
Yeah.
Prince Ali.
Ali, fabulous.
I'm here. I've arrived.
Yeah, kind of.
But those movies are fun, and like I've never gone back to watch any of them. But like those ones,
the genie scares me in the new
yes,
Aladdin.
it's uncanny.
The genie scares me so much, like he's gonna come up on stage and like slap the shit out of me or something.
It's the uncanny valley.
It's also Will Smith.
But yes. Oh, okay.
I was like, do you not get my joke?
I got you.
I was so mad
Sorry,
your
pick me.
reaction at it.
But those ones do a good number of like that big movie musical feel, right? And I feel like this one never quite achieved that,
No,
even for Under the Sea, which is the big
I think that was-
celebratory song.
I think that was the closest we got to it. What are your?
Yes.
We touched on it. This is so fun. This podcast is like we both have ADHD. Okay, what did you think of Under the Sea? Why did you not like this? Or I'm putting words in your mouth. Tell me what you thought.
No. So that's the big celebratory number. It's a beloved song. Composition wise, it's sort of there. It's all these instruments, whatever, but it's still just Daveed Diggs's voice for 90% of the songs. It almost feels like he's like a karaoke track, if you know what I'm saying. I want a chorus. And maybe I'm misremembering the original, but I feel like in my mind, the song feels a lot bigger than just one single person's voice. And I didn't love Ariel's little ad-libs towards the end.
Yeah.
Under the sea, under the sea. I also don't remember those, or maybe it just stood out to me more.
Probably new. Yeah, they're trying to add
They
it.
didn't work
I totally feel what you're saying. I think
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think I love the song from the original, so there's part of me that was like probably always gonna love it in this. But while we're on it, I thought, I'm curious what you think. I thought Sebastian was the star of the show.
Yeah, best
You didn't seem
performance.
as enthused as I did. I thought he had the best performance. I thought he was the funniest. Once Ariel couldn't talk, he's kind of like the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought he did phenomenal. He also is going to be playing, I guess this is a rumor technically, but I think it's pretty confirmed. He's also going to be playing the Thing in the new Fantastic Four.
Rumored? Or is?
No. Confirmed, baby. Well, you know, as far as rumors go, it's confirmed.
As as far as we're looking.
No, I mean the cast is there.
It's 100% confirmed a rumor.
It's not announced. Like Marvel themselves has not announced it, but all of the rumors now are on. You know how they start out kind of like they all get different ones. People are like, "Oh, I heard from so and so." Now they are all on the same 4 people of who it's going to be, and he's the thing. And I don't think I had heard of him. I think he's in Hamilton. That's what he was first known
Thomas
for. And I do love Hamilton.
Yeah.
Who was he in
I think
Hamilton?
it was the original Thomas Jefferson and Marquis de Lafayette.
That's great. Yeah. So I think after this, I'm really excited for him to do the thing.
I think that'll be interesting. But so Sebastian's design, I think, worked well for like the blend of like sort of animated and be able to be expressive.
I think I
just have
a problem
Flounder.
with all the animals. I do.
Flounder, yes. Okay.
To me, there was no difference between Flounder and the crab.
I think the crab is the best of them.
Sure. I can give you that. Yeah, the crab is definitely the best.
Yeah.
Let me think. I think it goes crab, bird, and then flounder. Flounder just looks...
Yeah.
And Flounder's voice almost didn't match. Sorry, Mr. Jason Tremblay or whoever it is.
Jacob Tremblay.
Jacob Tremblay. I've just roasted this man. I'm sorry.
From Room, right? He's the kid in
Yes. I was trying. It was bothering me. I was like, I know what he's from. You know, he himself did fine, but just for whatever reason. And have you seen the shots of him actually doing the voice recordings? He's like 5 years younger than he is currently. I'm not kidding. He looks like a child in the booth, and then he's at the red carpet. I'm like, who's this man?
He was the titular character. He was Luca in Luca. I forgot or didn't remember.
I love Luca.
Also, apparently voices Damian Wayne / Robin in the Harley Quinn series.
I love Damian Wayne. Oh my God, I love this kid.
But also famously in Room, which was an Oscar award-winning film. Yeah, I think Brie Larson got the best actress for it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, it didn't win Best Picture. Okay. So, David Diggs, and unfortunately the only one I know is Awkwafina. Now, we've waited 35 minutes or whatever. Let's talk Awkwafina. The scuttlebutt.
I'm good on Awkwafina.
You know how this is how I know it's not just me hating Awkwafina. I didn't know it was her till halfway through the movie. I had to ask Nikki, I go, whose voice is that? Why do I know that voice? She goes, Awkwafina. And I was like, that's why I'm so annoyed with Scuttle.
Mm-hmm. Which is disappointing, I think, because I really loved The Farewell. It is one of my favorite movies, which she was in.
Oh, yes.
It was up for some awards. I don't know that it won any Oscars, but it was very good. She does a great job. But there was obviously the controversy around how she sort of came up on YouTube as a rapper named Awkwafina, and sort of controversy around her appropriation of a quote-unquote black scent, which is not how she actually talks.
No.
And they have her rapping in this movie. And at points I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh, is she going to fall into her old habits?
Evan's like listening with a close ear. He's like,
I was like, watch yourself.
Better watch it, Awkwafina.
You better watch it, Awkwafina.
Here's one of my questions with Awkwafina. Don't you think if you're like in Marvel and the Little Mermaid now, wouldn't you change your name back?
I think
I would.
She attempted to.
Maybe she did.
She had a Comedy Central series that was called like Nora from Queens.
Is that her name? Nora? Her name's
maybe?
Nora, and she goes by Awkwafina?
Let me see. I think, Nora Lum.
Ready for this? I didn't know that was her. I used to see commercials for that, and it was on probably a streaming service where you like see the commercial like over and over and over and over and over again. And I was like, I'm never going to watch that show. Poor Awkwafina. You know what? That's 2 times I've been annoyed with Awkwafina before I even knew it was her.
For as far as we have come in representation for Asians in Hollywood, there was Crazy Rich Asians, also a shitty movie. Also, I think she has...
People are going to riot if you say that, Evan.
Oh, no, it's a shit movie. It's also a shit book I read.
Oh my God. Wait, no, I think people love Crazy Rich Asians.
I know they do. And I don't mind saying either. Both movie and source material are shit.
She's in that though, right?
She is in that, and I think it's a little problematic. But it's like, so there's that, and we have Everything Everywhere All at Once. And like the net result of all that is that like now there's like 2 to 3 Asian actors that are like the go-tos. It's Awkwafina. It's Simu Liu, who's in the upcoming Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Now Michelle Yeoh, I feel like is getting more work. We're seeing more of her.
Progress is a slow turning wheel.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying though. that is
Could it be someone else, please?
Anyone, please.
Anyone.
Anyone besides her. I also, not to just be a total full on hater, I feel like she was like the worst part of Shang-Chi also. Like, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was like comedic relief. Yeah, I don't know.
Total fish out of water there. Wait. Back to the Little Mermaid.
I also hate Shang-Chi. Another hot take. It was a shit movie.
Evan said it, not me. Okay. I don't like it either, though. I'm trying to rack my brain through scenes of the memory. Okay, memory of the scenes. Okay. My least favorite part of the movie, and it's in almost the very beginning, it's when that fucking Awkwafina bird is underwater for 10, 15 minutes talking to them.
Yeah. What's the mechanics?
I was infuriated.
What's the real world logic?
What is going on? And then at the end, they even try to address, I got to go up for air. Shut up. You've just been
under
this water
this whole time.
Talking. It'd be one thing if she was underwater, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do think some birds can hold their breath for a very long time.
Yeah.
But she was talking. I was like, what is going on?
Why not just do that scene on a rock?
Move it a little up. Move it fucking up just a little. Just a little. You guys are close to the surface. That actually drove me up a wall. I was like, if this whole movie's going to be like this, I'm going to have problems.
This podcast is supported by Lumina. Lumina is an AI-powered webcam that makes you look good on every video call. 4K resolution, adaptive color correction, autofocus and bokeh so you get that nice blur in the background, and of course my favorite feature, the AI cameraman that follows you around the frame to keep you centered at all times. Zhuzh up your video calls and stop looking like dog doo-doo with Lumina. You can use promo code 2dudes for 10% off your purchase at getlumina.com. That's code TWO dudes at getlumina.com. Back to the podcast.
Two dudes watch cartoons.
Who else? Javier Bardem is King Triton.
Yeah. What's he from? How do I recognize him?
No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That did it.
Skyfall.
Yes. Now that you've said No Country for Old Men, it's all clicking for me. He was good. I was going to say great, but he was good.
It felt a little stiff to me until
yeah.
I've seen this man act before. Until the last scene where he's sending off Ariel, like that part, I was like, oh, he's emoting and all that. But his interactions with like Sebastian and all, and maybe it's just because it's like a weird thing where he's not acting with like a real partner, and like so sometimes like, he's talking to the crab and it's like, are the sight lines like there? They're like slightly off.
It's like that famous Ian McKellen when he comes back to do The Hobbit and he's like, I looked around me and I wept because I was like, this is not cinema.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Like, you know what? At the moment, we were all like, shut up, Ian McKellen. But now, I think he was onto something.
He was onto it. He was how old is that?
That was early.
10 years ago now?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like maybe even more than 10 years, honestly.
Wow.
That was early, like before, and you know what? He went from the two stark contrasts because, like, Lord of the Rings is like the most practical effect movie of all time. Like all the makeup, all of its practical effects, and so he went from like that to just probably all green screen acting with no one there.
And with the Hobbits in the original one, they would use like forced perspective or whatever it is. But I only bring that up to say, have you seen that picture of Vin Diesel and The Rock from the Fast and Furious?
I don't understand it. Is that edited or is that from the movie?
I think that's actually from the movie.
It's outrageous.
It's outrageous because
Vin Diesel looks like Buff Groot.
6 times the size of The Rock. I think it's just one of those things where the star or whatever doesn't want to be seen as shorter. Like I think Robert Downey Jr. famously wears high-heeled boots in most of the Avengers movies. But the result is like when you put the still shot on Twitter, it looks absurd.
It looks really wild.
Like, if I'm talking to Brizard like this is a visual bit for the YouTube watchers, but they try to pass it off like you're just looking at them side by side. But my head is.
Oh wait, is this? No wait, I need to go like this. I think for.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I forgot why is it that?
We're talking about No Country for Old Men, Javier. We're talking about him looking at the crab. He probably isn't able to just act in a green screen room too well.
Yes.
But no, I agree. He felt kind of stiff. That's why I said good, not great.
Yeah. Ariel a little bit as well.
And I hate to use this. I think that's just because she probably hasn't acted before. He's got no excuse. No.
He's cashing a check.
Do you think that's what most of them are just kind of thinking and feeling about this?
I mean, maybe not so grossly cash grabby, but like
it's a cash grab.
I think they're not maybe bringing their A game. I don't think anyone's like method acting to go into the job at the Little Mermaid, if you know what I mean.
No, I feel you. I agree. Okay, so let's talk. I think we've talked a lot of good characters so far. Ursula. Let's talk about Ursula. What did you think about her?
Phenomenal. I think Melissa McCarthy does a great job.
Melissa McCarthy, from start to finish, because was the best actress in the movie. Like, if that makes sense. I think it could have been Halle, but it's because she loses her voice halfway through the movie. I got a real problem with this. And maybe it's the story that I have a problem with. I don't understand. To me, there's something kind of like, I don't want to say gross, but like him like falling in love with a girl he can't actually talk to is kind of weird in my opinion. No, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know. I can't fully put my finger on it. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird to me. I think it's a weird message.
I don't think that's the message, though, is what I'm saying.
What's the message?
I don't know. Them falling in love, like building a real, spending time together, having mutual, like similar interests.
Oh, and he falls in love with her brain?
It's not the fairy tale that he's seeking out this whole time. It's not her magical, enchanting voice.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm going to try and paraphrase you. I think you cannot connect with her chemistry because Ariel has no voice and the acting performance doesn't quite get there for you.
Maybe.
Fair?
That's fair. I thought he did a good job. Like I said, he was holding down those scenes. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. And I'm sorry, I can't. You take Scuttle out of the movie, or at least that version of Scuttle, it would have jumped up a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Ursula, I was talking about how weird it was. Ursula, though. Let's go back to Ursula. Melissa McCarthy. Weird casting choice. I was like, whoa, what's going on with this one?
Perfect, though, right?
It was perfect.
I think she is the only one that brought the amount of animation and expression. She's the only one who brought that sort of performance to this movie, where everyone else is sort of acting for film. She's acting for like stage almost, like a stage production, and that's what you need in these big movie musicals. And it feels sort of underwhelming without it, and that's where a lot of this movie falls short for me, and also with a lot of the filler. But she was a bright spot. She
to me is like the only one I felt actually had like squid legs, you know what I mean, where everyone else is like mermaid tail. I was kind of like, I don't know, I'm not buying this as much.
Do we know the actress who is her in disguise? Is she from anything? Her name's Jessica Alexander.
No, I don't know. I saw a funny tweet though, someone hating on it, and they were like, the 5 seconds of what's her name, Victoria or whatever, it's Ursula's human form. The 5 seconds of Ursula singing was, or of her singing as a human was better than all of Halle Bailey. And someone was like, you idiot, it was Halle's voice. Because she stole it. So all of the singing when she's in that human form is Halle Bailey. And so people were like, you're just racist, you idiot.
Yeah, if you're going to become racist, at least be factually correct, at the very least.
If that's what you're going to do, be fucking right at least, is what Evan says.
Oh, man.
Do more research, racist.
Yeah. Otherwise, you fit the stereotype of being a super dumb fucking racist. An uncultured idiot.
We're trying to help you. What's going on? Okay, let's
come factually correct, and then we'll have a conversation.
Then we can talk.
Oh boy. Were you getting the vibes that Grimsby and Eric's mother were gonna like hold hands at the end? I thought I was waiting for that.
I was getting vibes they were gonna fuck at the end. I don't know about holding hands. Yeah, dude. I think that was some sort of C plot that we like either got cut on the cutting room board, because they even at one point were like, what do we tell them about us? That's not what they said, but they said something along those lines.
Most baller move was when the engagement ring slips off of Ursula / Victoria's finger. Grimsby, the guy rooting for Team Ariel, kicks it to the side in the scuttle, if you want to call it that.
So I actually think he was one of my favorites because I went from hating the douche to being like, yes, you know what I mean? I was like, he does care. Probably when he's like sneaking out or the prince is sneaking out and he sees him and he's like, I'm sure he's in his room. And then he comes back and he's like, the fuck you doing here? I just had to lie to your mother, kid.
He was good. Man,
for such a kid's movie, I think I've sworn on this podcast more times than any other.
We've sworn and discussed racism more than any other podcast. Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say about this movie. Just like there's so much filler. So
who was your favorite?
Enough.
Who was your favorite?
Ariel. I'm
okay.
You know,
Sebastian for me, like I said, held it down. I thought he was hilarious when he's like, I am an educated crab. I don't need to be dealing with this mud. I was like, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, the thing I wanted to say about Ursula, though, is most of her dialogue was just very plainly stating where we are in the plot, or very plainly stating, you know, granted, I don't really remember watching that from the movie, but I imagine it's a little more subtle than that. She's just like, and I've been here for 15 years and I hate my brother and I'm going to get back at him by stealing Ariel. It's like, okay.
And she was like, perfect. She's already enamored with the human world.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah. And so it's in those moments where I'm like, this movie is for 5-year-olds.
This is a Disney movie.
This is a Disney movie.
You know what?
I kid you not. 10 minutes into the movie, I start looking at the clock. I was like, man.
Oh, no. Well, you're in for a long.
I checked in at an hour. I checked in at an hour and a half. And I was like, there's still fucking more of this. Oof. Just cut out all the filler. I don't need the swashbuckling, seafaring stuff. I know you enjoyed some of it. Cut it all out. I don't need the real world context of where they are in the Caribbean.
We're coming up to Shipwreck's Cove. You didn't like that?
Wasn't for me.
The shark chase, that wasn't for you when she was with all the...
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, I agree. So, no, there was a lot of filler, but I think some of it is needed, is what I'll say. Like, you know, the stuff about the sea and mermaids not crying, that's fun spin on it. Eric being a world traveler is a fun spin. I don't know we need to spend as much time on it. Mm-hmm. Not to sound like the people we've been complaining about this whole thing. Did they address why his mother was black and he was white?
He was adopted.
That's what I thought. He was just adopted.
She says something about that in their first conversation.
I zoned out, I guess.
That's how we found you, or something along those lines.
Oh, you know what? She did say that, but when I guess I thought it more of like, I don't know, like, oh, we found you and you were a mess. You know what I mean? Not like we physically found you, but that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like a referring to some like OD he had, like he went down a bad road, or we found you. No, they literally found him as a baby and adopted him, is what I took from it.
That makes sense. Okay. Man, the racists are going to hate that one too, though. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I thought the movie was good. I know we haven't seen all of the live action Disney remakes. Where do you think this would rank, though? Like, so let's take like Aladdin, this one, Lion King, and Jungle Book. I think we've seen all 4 of those. Oh, and Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. Let's do all 5.
I think
where do you think
this one is going to be bottom of the totem pole for me, unfortunately.
Oh, are you for real?
Mm-hmm.
See, this gets put above both animal ones for me.
I haven't. Yeah, I don't really remember either of the animal ones. So
the animal ones it's all Uncanny Valley, and it's very much like, why did this need to be live action if you're just animating literally every single thing in it?
Okay, maybe I'll read.
And I love the Jungle Book and Lion King, like the originals. Yeah. That's my shit. And so I thought this. I think if they're gonna do these live action remakes, do them with humans. Even we're talking about the crab and the fish and the bird. They're not great in this.
Also, with the animal ones, I imagine those are no more merchandisable than the originals. Like
Exactly. What do you want?
yeah.
They're just trying to recapture the Yeah, I think what it is it is literally a pipeline to like go watch the old one or like get Disney Plus. Like I genuinely think that's all it is.
Yeah.
So I want to mention this before we move on to our Letterboxd reviews. When I at the beginning of this, I pulled it up on Letterboxd and I typed in to the bar Little Mermaid, Lil. Mermaid. I'm like, what?
You're
Why
one
did
to
I
talk
do that?
about racism.
Let's talk about Awkwafina and her problems. I'm over here like Lil Jon. Okay. Do you have any Letterboxd reviews while I pull them back up?
Just at a glance, 2 stars. This reviewer says, I watched it high and Sebastian was freaking me the fuck out. 3 stars. I know a Lin-Manuel Miranda song when I hear it. I'm talking to you, Scuttlebutt.
I can't believe you haven't mentioned it till now. Go on. I know you have a lot to say.
Not worthy of my time. No, it's just like I think we have at this point it's diminishing returns with Awkwafina, with Lin-Manuel Miranda. The new songs weren't very good. They don't add anything. They're not super memorable other than being really fucking annoying with the chicka wah wah chicka wah. Unless that's in the original. I don't know.
I don't think it is.
No, I think that's like a line of dialogue before they jump into that song.
Yeah. This one's kind of long. I'm just going to leave it at the end. All stellar. Javier was a little goofy, though. I thought the most goofy part, and this is no fault of his own though, it's when he is saying goodbye to Ariel at the end and he just like slowly rises out of the water and it's just like you only see like the top part of his costume, so you're like, what is going on? Like it looks so goofy if I'm being honest.
I have this issue with movies that have like underwater scenes where I just start thinking about the logistics of it. I was like, how do they do that? Are they coming up for air like every couple of takes? But for this movie, for me, there's a lot of times where they're on the surface of the water, or the first time Ariel pulls Eric out of the water, he's sitting there and occasionally the tide will rise and like go over his open mouth. I was like, that's gotta suck as an actor. You're like,
that sucks.
Pretend you're not joking. So that's very distracting for me personally.
I get it. This one says 2.5 stars. Not awful, which by Disney live action standards means it's a masterpiece.
Fair.
I think that was what I was trying to get at with the ratings. Is I was like, I thought this was pretty good amongst the live action ones.
Yes.
You put it at the bottom, but that's okay.
I put it at the bottom.
Lin-Manuel Miranda will not be stopped until he has achieved world domination. And I kind of agree with that one.
Probably. 3.5 stars. When Kaiju Ursula showed up, I lost it. That's pretty good. Also, does she get stabbed by a ship in the original? That felt pretty gruesome.
I don't think so. It's great. I like that part.
That to me was like in The Last Jedi when they split a Star Destroyer with another like ship. I was like, that's pretty badass.
That's awesome. Why have we not done this before? There's some really good ones here, too. Okay, 4.5 stars. Disney should accept the fact that they will never be able to make another live action as good as and beautiful as this one. I think if you liked The Little Mermaid as a kid, like really, really liked it, you probably loved this movie. And so sorry we've just been kind of dancing around, pooping on it a little. I thought it was good. I do want to make that like known. It was not perfect, but I think that's just the nature of Disney at this point, unfortunately.
I think if you like the original, if you have any nostalgia for the Disney classics, go watch it. It's fun. The parts that you love about the original are still there. Granted, they add a lot of fluff to this one, and that's the stuff that I disagree with. So it's worth the nostalgia trip. Where does it land on a scale of 5 stars for you?
For me, I'm gonna give it 2.5, right in the middle.
2 feels mean-spirited, so I think I'm going to give it a 2.5 as
2
well.
2 doesn't feel right. 3 feels too much.
3 feels too much. 3 is like me saying, yeah, it was pretty good. Go watch it. And I'm not quite there. It's like, get around to it maybe when it's on Disney+.
To me,
it's easy and accessible.
This would be a great thing to watch on an airplane. You know what I mean?
I was literally about to say, this would makes a great in-flight movie, which
might
be how I watched Aladdin, the live action.
Oh, yeah. Man. Final thoughts. Wrap us up here, Evan, before we move on to some news and wrap up.
I think this movie does what it sets out to do, which is capture the imaginations of young children. I think where this one faults, like I've said many times in this podcast, is it's too long. Kids seated in my theater were struggling to sit through all of it. They were getting antsy by the end, as was I. Like, this is a tough one to sit through.
You're projecting. Just kidding.
But
Yeah, well, I mean,
you know,
it added an hour to the original.
the original runtime, I looked it up while I was sitting in the theater because I could not wait for this movie to be over. 83 minutes. This one, 2 hours and 15, maybe 2 hours and 20.
What is that?
For no
is that
reason.
just the state of Hollywood right now?
I don't know. All right, this is my most baseline capitalistic, pessimistic view. They're trying to fill up time in their content library, just literally runtime minutes.
Literal runtime. Yeah, I get it. Keeps people on Disney Plus longer, and
they're trying to box out other movies from theater screens.
Which is not an issue at the moment. I think it would be if like Hollywood was back where it was at. Oh, one thing I did want to say
isn't.
With this Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy, we have Elemental, Flash coming up. Like, I feel like movies are back finally. I've been seeing movies for a very long time in theaters. I really love going to the theater. So I've been seeing movies, back when we were wearing masks still. Mm-hmm. It finally feels like movie theaters are like back to normal. Does it feel that way for you? It's not perfect. It's not because there's not the variety of movies there used to be.
I don't think we're at like pre-pandemic movie hype levels, box office, but I think we're like trending upward, definitely. Like it feels normal to go back to the movies. Maybe to the point where before everything was like a Marvel Cinematic Universe event and like the benchmark was $1 billion. I feel like we're just like sitting, it's like it's a regular activity again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a good spot to pivot into news. The reason I speculate that it's like a boxing out strategy is because there is this headline going around Twitter that Tom Cruise is reportedly unhappy with Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer specifically taking away all the IMAX
Barbie.
screens from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, because I think Mission Impossible comes out maybe a week before that, and then Oppenheimer is getting, I guess, all of the IMAX screens after that. So I think there is a little bit of this corporate war/rivalry going on there where they try to box each other out.
Interesting. And so if it's an hour and a half movie versus a 2.5 hour movie, less of competitor movies can play in theaters because you have it for an extra hour. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't hate the theory at all. I love a good conspiracy theory too, so might have to subscribe to this one.
Yeah, Disney Plus, hire me. I'm a great corporate strategist, apparently. I'm ruthless.
Evan's been watching Succession. He's like, I know how to crush the competition.
I'm a grinder. I grind.
Sometimes. That's good. I was going to say, sometimes it is a big dick measuring contest.
Any other news?
No, well, we haven't done any news. Or you just did the Tom Cruise one. Okay,
the Tom Cruise one.
The one that you brought up that I want to talk about is Disney Plus is, hold on, let me find it here. Now I don't have it. Here it is. Disney Plus takes 1.5 billion with a B content write-off charge in June quarter after pulling dozens of titles from streaming services. So this to me goes all the way back to when HBO was removing things that would be considered original content. And people are like, why on earth would they ever do that? Apparently, you get a 1.5 billion tax write-off. That's not a little amount of money.
No.
That's crazy.
I wish other industries/jobs could do that. Like, I wish I could just go into my Gmail and erase my whole inbox and
that's what I don't understand is how does them, I guess maybe, and this is where I should do a little more research, how does them removing it give them a tax write-off? Like, that's what I don't understand. For me, if you're in real estate, like the gas you use to go to and from different open houses is a tax write-off. How is removing content a tax write-off? That's what I don't understand.
I think it's because you take it as a loss, I believe.
You're right.
If you're...
I forgot you were an accountant guy at one time.
No. This is me entirely speculating.
No, but that makes sense. When they're doing it purposely, but they list it as a loss.
I think the way, and again, I'm speculating, but
I hate it.
I believe the logic is the whole streaming strategy is that you pay billions and billions or whatever for new original content in the hopes that it brings in enough subscribers to increase revenue. And so I think if it's not driving new subscribership enough, then they take it off market as a loss, and they don't have to worry about paying all those royalties, whatever they have to put it on there in the first place.
I hate it. I hate
it as well, and that's why writers in Hollywood are striking.
It is part of it, actually. Yeah, it goes back to that because they don't get the syndication money like they used to when it would air on a TV show. I mean, granted, they're not getting a ton of money from syndication, but if it's a popular show and it syndicates enough, that can add up. You know what I mean? And so that was why getting to 100 episodes was a big deal, because then it can be syndicated on different networks. You know, like TBS plays Friends now. It was not a TBS original show. But every time it plays on TBS, the Friends writers get money, and they don't get that same privilege on streaming services, which, as we all know, is where media's at. Shout out to the WGA. They are, at least as of this recording, still striking. Writers are on strike. You can follow WGA on like Instagram and Twitter. Just look up the hashtags, but also go to WGAcontract2023.org for more information about it. We're rooting for the writers. Without them, there's none of this. That's what I don't understand, is the writers are the unsung heroes of Hollywood. How, this is what people are, I also hate, I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant now. I hate when people are like, that's going to be delayed now because of the writer's strike. No, that is being delayed because these people will not pay their employees the proper amount of money. It's not because of the writer's strike. They are striking because they're not being paid enough. I just think the verbiage of it is important. But so none of this happens without them. We have a couple of writer friends now too, and it's hard seeing what they're going through. I feel for them greatly, and I wish them all the best of luck, and I wish them all the monies because they fucking deserve it. Yes. Without them, none of this happens. Without them, this is how we're getting live action Disney remakes.
It's a race to the bottom. Unfortunately, this is
that's all capitalism is.
Content
is a race to the bottom.
It's just a race to the bottom. That's why all this new stuff comes and goes. If you're not a Stranger Things on Netflix, you get a season if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And that's how immediate it is. That's why like Netflix cycles through new content so quickly. That's why now most of the strategies for these streamers is unfortunately probably going to pivot to like some sort of reality content or competition or game show or like home renovation shit that there's no writers, no production. Deadpool 3 I saw is moving into shooting, I believe.
And Ryan Reynolds cannot improv any lines on set because he's part of the Writers Guild. And so when he's improving a line, that's him technically writing and changing the script. Yeah. And everyone was blaming Disney.
He better fucking stick with it.
He will. I trust him, in all honesty.
And Ryan Reynolds is also like a billion. I don't know, maybe not a billion.
I'm surprised we haven't seen him on Shark Tank yet. He's got a bunch of businesses that he does.
Sure, I think he could own. No, maybe not own, but
let's not get carried.
He might be a billionaire. He's Molten.
I don't think he's a billionaire.
I'm about to look it up.
Look it up. I love him. He's bringing us Hugh Jackman back. What?
Yeah. Okay, you're right. This is as of 2020. His net worth is $650 million. Damn.
Do you want to know literally the only thing that you got new news? I was going to say he co-owns a soccer team, football team. I think if you were a billionaire, you would just own it. I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding. That was how I deduced it.
It's very good.
No, what is this going to be like Ted Lasso? What do you mean?
No, there's a docuseries about the whole process of him, Ryan McElhaney, and him like acquiring the team, like going through that first season. It's actually very good.
Is it like Ted Lasso? I revert back to my original question.
No, it's a docuseries. It's like their actual. I also haven't watched Ted Lasso, so.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, you've never. Like I mean, it's like an American comes into a soccer team. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, it's about them managing the club.
Interesting.
We're going in all directions. Am I pro Ryan, anti Ryan? I don't know.
We'll find out if those lines seem improvised or not.
I think that's all I have.
Little Mermaid? Anything else? Little Mermaid. We've veered so far off the tracks.
Oh, here's one for you. What do you think? What would you guess their next live action remake would be? I don't have any background information. Let's speculate a little bit. So my bet is Hercules. I would love to see Hercules.
Oh.
One of the
I
greatest
think you
soundtracks
nailed
of
it.
all time.
I actually think I would love to see a live action Hercules. So here's my pitch.
Mm-hmm.
MCU already has Brett Goldstein as Hercules. Keep that.
Okay.
He plays Hercules in this. And
old.
you get Danny DeVito to play his role again of the imp.
I need to see Danny DeVito half CGI.
Yeah, I need it. He's old.
I'm trying to think of. Wasn't Patton Oswalt that MCU character who's like a sort of like an imp character who shows up with Harry Styles at the end of it?
Yeah.
I just want to see that, but like actual Danny DeVito's body and not full CGI.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go with Brett Goldstein. He is Hercules full form.
I just thought it was funny. He just got revealed
But
as
then
Hercules.
they do the Chris Evans like Captain America 1 thing where they CGI
skinny
his
him
little
till
body. They skinny him. Yeah, I don't know. I can see it, but
and that casting probably meant nothing to you because he's a fame of Ted Lasso.
yeah, I know. I'm vaguely aware of who he is, but I wasn't like super excited.
Well, I was because I love Ted Lasso.
Who else could we cast as a live action Hercules?
He technically is supposed to have red hair because he is cousins of Ariel, which is fun. Do you think they're going to do that?
Yes.
Do you think they'll ever play into the
Wait,
cinematic?
what? He's cousins with Ariel?
So
Is he?
yeah,
okay,
her
'cause
grandpa
Triton and
is
okay.
Poseidon, and Poseidon is brothers of Zeus, who is his father. So they're like second
Mm-hmm.
cousins.
Okay, sure.
They're related. They're all related. Zeus has like a
his
million
name?
children.
Lucas Hedges, is that his name? Lucas,
Yeah. He's
and a
like the
bunch
guy
of
who.
A24 stuff.
Oh wait, maybe we're thinking of different people now. Did you watch season 1 of The White Lotus?
Yes.
He's the guy I'm
did.
thinking of that got his ass eaten out. This is a Little Mermaid
I
podcast.
don't
We need to
remember
go. We need to go. What are we talking about? I don't know who Lucas Hedges is. I'm sorry I tried. Let's get out of here.
He's in a bunch of A24 stuff.
I can't picture him. I can't.
He was, hold on. He was in Moonrise Kingdom. He was like the bratty redhead kid, but he's like much older now.
I was like, that's a child, Evan.
He's much older now.
I'm definitely thinking of someone else. Okay, sure.
Oh,
Let's go with him.
fan cast Meg and Zeus?
Zeus, let's go with who does he play in Love and Thunder? Gerard Butler. I'm
No,
trying
it was not Gerard Butler.
Who was it?
It was Russell Crowe.
It was Russell Crowe.
Gerard Butler would be a good one.
He actually would be a fine one.
Yeah.
It is Russell Crowe. Okay, Meg's a good one. Let me think of Meg real quick. Oh man, so you probably dye her hair, which is fine in Hollywood. I think who has a good demeanor? Emma Stone. No?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see it.
Oh. Okay, who do you got?
I don't have anyone. I think Emma Stone voice-wise fits the bill of like what Meg.
I think
was,
she
like,
could
the
nail that
sultry-
Meg. Yeah.
Let's just fan cast. No, I don't know. The whole movie. Who's Hades?
Can we,
Okay, we can log off.
Who's Hades? Let's fucking go. No, give me a Hades. You just made me do Emma Stone, and you laughed at it. Now you go.
Willem Dafoe. No, Jeff Goldblum. I think would make a great one.
A good one. He can
that'd
do
be
the
pretty
voice well. Willem Dafoe. I was gonna say you pull a real sneaky and you just make it Melissa McCarthy again, and she plays all the villains. No.
Who's the guy who played Carmine Falcone in the Batman, the new one?
I don't know the actor's name. I just know he's Adrian Monk's brother.
Adrian Monk's brother. Fuck, whatever.
He
It's
is.
escaping me at the moment. Yeah.
He is.
All right. Are you satisfied with that fan casting? John Turturro. That's what.
Yeah, we got a good cast. Let's go with that.
Yeah. All right. So we got Danny DeVito coming back, Brett Goldstein or Lucas Hedges.
We'll take either.
Emma Stone as Meg and John
Zeus
Turturro
or Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum as Hades. And did we decide on a Zeus? Gerard Butler.
Yeah, let's go Gerard Butler.
All right. Yeah.
He'd cash in that check. I see it.
Yeah, for sure. Wrap us. Get us the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Man, thank you all for being here. We have so much fun doing this. We hope you guys have fun listening to us. But if you are looking for more Two Dudes, please check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Please follow us at Two Dudes Watch Cartoons on Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget to like, rate, review, leave us a good note, share with a friend. We always appreciate it. We're trying to grow. We've seen substantial growth this last year, but we're always trying to reach new audiences. Maybe don't share this episode with them. Share a different one, but thank you for being here.
All right, that will do it for this episode of Two Dudes Watch Cartoons. We will catch you next time.
Two dudes watch cartoons.